Hey everybody, it's Chris Jesty, and joining me tonight is the one, the only, the guy who travels around the country and wins almost every event he goes to, known throughout all the discords as Deviant Id, aka Brad, joining me tonight to talk about the new Battletech Playtest package #1. How you doing tonight, Brad?
I'm doing good. Better after I got hyped up. I'll just have to keep that recording on hand for when Vapor's around.
Hey, I mean, he doesn't travel across the
Yeah, he has
country.
to show up, beat me, right?
Yeah, he sticks to his local zone. He's king of his own hill.
Yeah, right. I got the bond cord for when he does show up, though.
Ooh, them are fighting words.
Yeah.
All right. So the meat of tonight is the big announcement Catalyst made on Tuesday Newsday that was just a few days ago about the new playtest package. These are some big changes and some of the first we've had for Classic Battletech in ages. Brad has been there from the beginning, basically when they were written in stone.
At least 3rd edition, which was like early 90s.
So he does
There's
have
some older than me.
Yeah, he does have some insight into some of these changes that we'll be seeing and what it was like before. So I know you've got some things you want to talk about up front and first before we actually get into this playtest packet. So I'll let you go ahead and start with some of that, Brad.
Well, the one thing I would love if everybody comes to my event, Atlantic City Open, that is some Team Battletech action. But that's not until June 11th of next year. So hopefully, anybody who wants to play more Battletech can come meet me in Atlantic City. But that's beside the point. I think the rest of it is going to be focused on the play test.
Oh, no, might as well shout it out while you're here.
Good call. Yeah. I figured while I got the soapbox, I'm going to take advantage of it. Come to ACO, come to all the MRC events. Go to your Western Assault with SoCal Open and everything.
Go to every Battletech event you can.
Yeah. Play more games.
If I win the lotto, I'll be there at ACO.
That'd be great. Wrong coasts. We're always divided by a country.
Yeah, thankfully I can entice you to fly out to Vegas for the lights and gambling. So
going over the playtest was pretty exciting stuff. I think that there was a few things that stood out to me beforehand. So like as we scroll through the playtest, like they do say that they did make changes over the years. I mean, like Jesty said, I was there for that, so it's not like they haven't changed stuff. But the one thing that I've noticed is the word count. So like they do say in here, the original rules had just 48 pages, but I don't see that as a negative. I think that the conversational style stuff that they do now is good, but I still want like a bold, here's just, 2 sentences on how this rule works. And then they can go into the Total Warfare style, like 6 paragraphs.
Yeah, it should almost sound like code, when you're talking about a game rule here.
Yeah, like for me, like my eyes aren't as great. So like I see these seas of text to try and read the rules in this new conversational style, and it just glazes over, right? But like a single sentence, I can read and follow along with that and not lose focus. And then also, I mean, it doesn't affect me, but I know there are people who English is not their first language, and that conversational tone is brutal. Because it's just like trying to parse what they're saying through all the grammar and whatnot, versus like even a machine, like if you do a simple, very straight to the point, no nonsense description of the rule, even a machine can mostly translate that without too many issues.
Yeah, and some of their concerns that I've seen have been with word count. I mean, we're only talking about the official rules changes that are out. I know that there's some leaks out there, but for officialness' sake, we're not going to be commenting on those.
Yeah, mostly just what they have now. I mean, I just don't want to see another 400-page rule book. when 100 pages is plenty for rules. I think that they should keep that, like, that section they have of misremembered or uncommon rules, like a designer commentary. I think that is fantastic,
Oh
but I
yeah, it
don't
was
want that.
the at the end of the BMM. I think it was like a
Yeah,
common misconceptions or something like that at the end, where they answer commonly mistaken rules, or this is not
yes.
how this plays. We know some people do this, but that's not how it's written. Blah blah blah. Yeah, that was
I
a
would love.
great
Yeah,
section.
exactly. I would love if they had like a designer's commentary in the rules, but like so that they could explain it conversationally, but then leave the rule itself very clear, curt, and to the point. That way, you get the best of both worlds in the same section.
Yeah, and there's no room for misinterpretation. Well, they said they used this particular word in this sentence immediately after.
Yeah,
It's like, well, yeah, but the rule is here in this one line. End of
and
discussion.
then yeah, and if you need more, you can go to the designer commentary and see what they're talking about, just like the misremembered or common rules mistakes. That's why Battletech Manual is such a good book, and they even call that out in the section here, talking about how much better their layout is. Learned a thing or two after Total Warfare.
Yeah, right here it says we can take the solid base created by the popular Battletech Manual and build on it further, using its
Yeah,
improvements as a basis of a new core rulebook that replaces both Total Warfare and the Battletech Manual. So this is gonna be new BattleTech. There is no next edition. This isn't a step between Classic and Alpha Strike. This is BattleTech. Period.
and it also, we needed a new book, right? Like, people ask all the time, like, what should I get to get started? And I can't recommend Total Warfare, but that Total Warfare is the only place that has all the rules. So we definitely
Yeah.
need a new Total Warfare, because I can't, even if it was free, I don't recommend people read through Total Warfare. Battle Manual is just way easier for people to actually read.
Oh yeah, when I was a new player, reading through Total Warfare was, I mean, I'm an experienced tabletop RPG player. I've had like 20 years of playing, Dungeons and Dragons, GURPS, and Traveler under my
Yeah,
belt. And reading through Total Warfare just was brutal. I
yeah.
mean, I get it. I understand why they did it that way, but
Flipping
there's
between
definitely a
different
better way.
sections. Yeah,
Yeah.
flipping between different sections is like it was just a layout nightmare. But
Yeah.
anyway,
And then
they're
and
gonna change it.
Yeah, and then picking up the Battletech manual, I was like, wow, this is
Yeah,
so much better. Why
yeah.
didn't they do this the first time?" And it's
Oh yeah,
because there's literally like 15 years between, or something like that, between when Total Warfare came out and the Battletech manual came out. So
exactly.
yeah, there's been evolutions. They've learned a lot of lessons learned along the way when it comes to book layout, which we can all be thankful for. Hopefully, in this new release that's coming out soon, TM. I mean, this is still not
Yeah,
anywhere near soon. This is probably going to be at least a year or two out minimum, would be my guess.
yeah. So then, as we scroll to the next page, I know the thing that caught my eye is they have an extra rule for us. So as we get down past like the where you come in and all that, at the very bottom, heat is no longer generated when you stand up. So I know that one specific rule I think is fine, because in my years of playing, that is a very easily forgotten rule, because it's just such a very narrow specific thing. My only reservation is that uh, they felt like they didn't need to test that. And while I can agree with them there, we don't know what else they changed that they felt they didn't need any input on.
I mean, there are some gimmies. Like this one, yeah, sure. Getting rid of one heat for standing up, like I didn't even realize that happened because I play Megamech so much I don't even notice it.
Yeah, Megamech
Yeah.
just does it.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe something that's quality of life.
So we have two rules changes besides that one heat on stand. Big ones though. Side hit locations and the explosion damage cap.
Yeah. So which one of these two do you want to cover first? I mean, I know they're numbered 1 and 2, but which one do you
Yeah.
think is more impactful? Or maybe we should just
I
do them in order because I think the ammo explosion one can get a little involved here.
Yeah, the data on both is I think the data on both is fascinating, but I'm a numbers person.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I and the gameplay. I can't think of the word right now.
Ramifications.
There you go. That's the exact word I was thinking. The gameplay ramifications are actually pretty exciting, at least from my point of view.
So if we switch over to a record sheet, one of the things that stood out to me when I teach Battletech, I have people hover over the center torso. So you could see kind of Jesty's hovering over the center torso. And I explain, instead of teaching them to look at the hit chart, which is right there on the flex sheets, I instead explain that 7 is the center of a 2d6 roll, and 7 is the center of the mech. And so you can just put your dice on the center of the mech or your cursor, and then every number you roll less than 7 goes to the right, and every number you roll above 7 goes to the left. And that's true except for the 2 crit rolls, but everybody will remember the crit rolls because they're the snake eyes and the boxcar. So, like, if I say to Jesty, uh, an 8, Jesty would just move over 1 location to the 8, and that's going to be the torso. And then if I say 9, well, the next thing over is the leg. The arm is up if you go high, but if you look at what's closest to the center torso, the leg is the next closest thing to the center torso. And then 10, 11, that's the furthest thing to the left, so that's the left arm. And then the same thing with the right location. Every number less than 7, you just move 1 further away. So if it's a 6, you would move to the right torso, 1 to the right of the center torso. And if it's a 5, you move 2 away from the center torso. And the leg is the next closest thing after the torso. And then 3 and 4 are the furthest to the right, and that's where the arm is. So I've always been able to explain that to people and have them just get the hit chart, at least visually. And
Hey,
I've always liked
hang on,
that.
time out, Brad. I mean, that's really handy. Why didn't you tell me this the few times we've played each other over the years in
I just
person?
played in the tournament, and you had already memorized the chart the hard way when we met.
Uh, all right, I guess that's fair. But yeah, this is way easier. Holy crap!
So like when I my aha moment was when, because I've taught this over the years in my local campaign, but like I taught it to a 12-year-old, and the 12-year-old got it like that and never needed to look up the hit chart. But the caveat was that that does not work for the side locations. Like the logic is kind of there, but there's a lot of like extra steps, and like you got to start on the 8, and that's not the 7. It's not as clean. So when I saw this rule where they said, yeah, so there's a trick to learning the center front location, and now you don't need the side charts. We're going to get rid of them. So for me, that meant teaching BattleTech to new players, something I do often enough, is going to be so much easier for me. So regardless of the gameplay changes, like for me anyway, teaching BattleTech just got a whole lot easier because I won't need to reference the hit chart ever again when teaching new players.
Yeah, and that's a pretty impactful change. I mean, getting rid of these 2 charts, which were really kind of extraneous because they kind of reversed the location if you're on the left chart, because now you go right if you go up and then down if you go left and blah blah blah. So these
Yeah, they did
charts,
not follow the clean logic that the front chart does.
yeah, and these charts are just straight up deleted. They are gone. These left and right charts, it's just the front and the rear is basically just the front with the torsos replaced with rear torsos.
Yep. Yeah. And so that means that if nothing else, getting rid of the side charts will make teaching the game and the things you need to memorize a lot easier, because there's not a trick to the side charts that's as clean. So you're always just forced to have to remember or look up the little tiny print for the side chart. So that going away, I think, is a good thing for the new player experience.
Yeah, and that's just part of this change. The most impactful part of the change is that now, I guess the easiest way to explain it is that you can no longer hit anything on the opposite side of the mech when you are in a side arc. So if you're
Yeah.
in the left side, you cannot hit anything on the right side of that mech. Period.
Yes. So it's nice and clean because we already know pretty much people got the front chart. But now if you're on the right side and you roll the left arm, you just know, okay, I'm on the right side, it goes to the right arm. So there's a lot less translation errors. I've been playing Battletech a long time, and I still have, like, we'll be in the middle of a firing phase. Somebody will be rattling off damage to me that I'm taking off damage. And then they'll go, oh, hang on, I was on your right side. It's a lot harder to fix that. Now it's like, oh, well, you hit my left arm, that goes to the right. But like all the numbers are still the same. The center torso hits are still the center torso hits. And that's the most common thing on the 7. So that won't change.
Yeah, it also makes a difference for a logic perspective for new players because when I was teaching my TTRPG group BattleTech, so I could run my Time of War campaign, and we started combat the first time. They're like, okay, I'm in the left side. All right, I shoot him. Where do I hit? I'm like, oh, you hit him in the right side. And they're like, wait, what? How did I hit him on the right side when I'm on his left side? It's just there's a disconnect there that, I mean, it made no sense to me personally that it was ever like that to begin with. I mean, I get from a logic perspective, especially like the way the mech moves and sometimes the way they're posed, you can see the right arm and the right leg from the left side of the mech.
I think this is a great time to say that Battletech is not a simulation.
Exactly.
So when you are looking from the right side of the mech, yes, you can see the left leg and you can see the left arm. And so like there's two takes on it. Oh, if I'm on the right side, why can't I hit the left arm? And it's like, well, there's reasons, but now it's just you're on the right side, you hit the right side because it's not a simulation, and that's why there's only like 7 hit locations, and we're not modeling, you know, loped armor and shot traps and things like that. From a non-simulation game point of view, it makes a lot of sense. If you're on the right side, you hit the right side. Like that's just intuitive.
Yeah, the quality of life just from that logic is huge, but I think the gameplay implications are much bigger. Now,
Yeah.
getting in a side arc means you can focus down a particular section of a mech quickly. Honestly, I think it's a good quality of life change and a buff to faster, lighter mechs that can more easily get into these side arcs. Like now, if you have a Dasher H, your only option to make an impact and get a lot of value out of the one turn that thing's probably going to be alive is no longer just the rear arc. If you've already softened up a side or nailed a leg with an AC-20, now you can get in that side arc and do some targeted damage. So that means mechs will die quicker, and it also means that now you can actually try and protect a side by exposing the other side or exposing your rear or whatever, and baiting mechs or, dodging mechs and trying to get out of there, get your side arcs away from them or aim them to them, depending on the situation.
So like one of the things that I wanted to see was exactly to what percent those changes that you just brought up were going to, be impacted by the numbers. So I'm not as good of a coder as I used to be, but I just did some vibe coding, and I loaded up a Wolverine, Jade Phoenix, an Awesome, and a Centurion, and I just did some targeted destruction tests just to see exactly how big of a change this side arc was going to be. So one of the things to just cover in the beginning is that if you're just shooting from the front into just a normal armor distribution, to determine which torso is going to get blown up first, it's roughly a 3 center torso to 1 to 1 to the side torsos. So the CT is the thing that's going to be cored out first, about 58% of the times. Just using whatever sample mech it was, that was 47 rolls. That same mech, if you turn it to the side on the old side chart, your time to kill a fresh mech went from 47 to 52. So it's actually harder to kill a mech on the side chart before than in the front and, of course, in the rear. It was still a 3-1-1 split in percentages, but now it was you were 3 times more likely to destroy that side torso you were on than the other two.
And I personally, I feel like that is wrong. I mean, that feels wrong. Like, if you're flanking a mech and you're on their side, you should have a benefit. There should be an advantage to flanking a mech or a unit in general.
That's why I like the numbers, because I was surprised to find out that in the old side chart, destroying the opposite side was about as likely as destroying the center torso from the side, because the center torso is slightly easier to hit from the side, but the other side has less armor. So like they were roughly the same, which was kind of surprising. In the rear, you go from 47 rolls in the front or 52 in the side to only 25 needed to kill, with almost all of that being center torso, just because you get into the center torso so much faster in the rear, and the center torso is where all the juicy stuff is.
And that makes sense. I mean, you're rewarded for getting in the rear arc or punished for giving up your rear arc. Perfectly clear.
You'll hit the side torsos, but unless you're on a weird armor distribution mech, like we're on the Jade Phoenix right now, and you see the center torso, which is more likely to be hit, has 10 rear armor, and it has 10 side armor, right? So that means that, like, because the center torso is getting hit more, that 10 rear armor in the Jade Phoenix is going to get chewed through much faster, even though there's more internal structure. Now, you do have outliers like the Awesome. So if we switch to the Awesome, that's one of the reasons why I like to test it. It has 19 rear armor. So like the Awesome's a little harder to grind out the center torso of, but the Awesome is an outlier in terms of how much rear center torso armor it has. Like the average mech in the rear, it's only going to take you 25 rolls to core out that center torso with like a normal armor spread from what we see from mechs.
Yeah, now, and the Awesome is a atypical distribution, like you said. So
yeah, exactly. So that's why it was fun to test. Now the new side chart, it's going to be 25 rolls depending on the mechs, and it'll go up or down. But it's 25 rolls before you destroy a torso. That's not mech destroyed. That's just before you destroy the first torso. So it's important for those XL engine mechs. But it means that it's a 4-to-1 split now, because all of those opposite torsos that you were hitting before and spreading damage to now all goes to that same torso. So there's a 78% chance instead of like a 58% chance that you clip that side torso before the center torso,
which is huge if you don't know the math.
Yes, it sounds like it's only a 58 to 78. That's not how percentages work, right? Like, that's a 3-to-1 to a 4-to-1. But when you have a small number of dice like you do in Battletech, you know what I mean? Like 20 damage before, very unlikely to penetrate through the side armor of something like a medium mech. But now you're very likely to cluster that 20 damage onto that side torso. It's a much higher percentage because we're talking about small numbers where you just need to cluster a few times in Battletech. So it makes a bigger difference. So in that first test, just as a generic test, side shots and rear shots came out to be the same for destroying a torso for like an XL engine mech, where that would matter. That's a huge thing. Yes. Yeah. You go from needing 52 rolls on the side in the old chart just because of how spread out it was. It was even worse than shooting a mech in the front, to only 25, which is as good as shooting in the rear. So now the whole back half of your mech, when you look at like the hexes and where your shots come in, before 5 of your 6 hex facings were pretty safe from damage. It was only your rear. But now only 3 of your hex facings are safe. If somebody gets behind you, even shooting on your rear or your side. It's going to be bad for you.
And I think that's a good change. It means mechs die quicker, games end quicker. It means you have to be more tactical with your positioning. It means blocking your side arc is just as important as blocking your rear arc, if possible, or getting cover on your side arc, etc., etc.
You actually need, the numbers show anyway, that you need to pay attention to when you're letting things hit you on the side. So I will say that this is not a new thing if anybody is a fan of melee, because melee kicks always. I can't tell you the terror of losing initiative and knowing they're going to kick my right leg and they have enough damage to take that right leg off because they kicked it the last time. So now it's like that, but for the shooting phase too.
And just so that we have a visual, there we go. Took me a second to pull it up, but I made it.
So your firing arcs are still, so it is a good thing that if you go to the right side of somebody, you still get to torso twist and put your whole arc into them. So in that way, even though the right side is now super deadly to get shot on, at least you can fire back into them. Whereas the rear arc, usually, if you don't have flippy arms.
Yeah, it's far more risk versus reward. I mean, yeah, technically, you're just as likely to core out a mech on the right side and the rear side now, but you're not getting their full broadside alpha strike in the rear arc. Assuming all their weapons aren't in their arms, they can arm flip. Something like a rifleman or whatever can still arm flip and punish you. But
not every mech is like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the exception, and that's a feature, not a, it's a feature, not a glitch or a mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, when we look at this destruction testing about the Awesome, because it is one of the mechs that has like a slightly different damage distribution. So with the Awesome, right, 30 rolls from the front, like including legs just being destroyed now. That previous one was just caring about torsos for like the XL engine kind of mechs. But now, like talking about everything, in Awesome, when you're shooting it from the front to the point that you core it CT out, in the front, your legs are only going to get destroyed about 15% of the time, just because legs are pretty hard to hit unless you're kicking. And then your arms are getting destroyed almost all of the time. You're going to lose an arm from the front with an Awesome. And you're going to lose a side torso about 80% of the time before your center torso gives out. This is like the classic zombie. Awesome, before its center torso goes, it's going to lose an arm, but it's going to keep its leg, so it's still mobile and scary. And it's going to lose a side torso, usually one side torso, 80% of the times. Both side torsos, a little less. So the Awesome is going to zombie pretty effectively. 30 rolls, has its legs, which it needs its legs to do its job, but it only needs one torso to keep the party going. In the rear, the Awesome takes 21 rolls to destroy. So it's not as much of a change in the rear from the front, because the Awesome does have that extra center torso rear, and the side torsos go up to 90% because it has so much more rear armor than side armor in this one configuration. It's still good to shoot an Awesome in the side, but only a little bit. Now the old side chart, this is where the old side chart and the new side chart kind of show. So the new side chart, it's 32 like random shots to get that center torso kill, because you only care about the center torso going down. You get more leg kills though in the side because you're putting more. Instead of splitting your damage between two legs, the old side chart did favor one leg more than the other a little bit, and you still had a high percentage to be putting damage on the opposite torso on the old side chart, meaning that the Awesome was still zombieing. That's why it's actually harder to kill an Awesome from the side than the front, because you're guaranteeing that they have to grind through the leg and the side torso instead of focusing on the center torso as much. The new side torso, instead of 32 rolls to kill, it goes down to 26. 26 is less than the front.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So the new side torso, you will kill an awesome faster in the side than in the front because you're just focusing down. Those arms get popped off so much faster in destructive simulations. Then the torso gets popped. The leg percent destroyed goes up a little bit, but it's really that arm gets blown off so fast now that the damage just piles up on that side torso and knocks it off almost immediately. And then it's just center torso city after that. So it's slightly worse to be shooting from the side than the rear, but it is noticeable. Like you get a lot more value shooting the awesome in the side now.
Yeah, it makes it worthwhile to actually pursue side arcs with this current change. Yeah.
Yeah, you will save yourself time and damage shooting the awesome in the side than just trying to grind it out through the front. So like, those people who sit their awesomes in the woods and do the thing, maneuver against the awesome will actually matter. Whereas before, if you couldn't get to the rear of the awesome, it wasn't worth maneuvering against it, right?
Yeah, you're better off sitting there getting better shots. Yeah.
And kill yourself, exactly. Now you will actually get something for moving around to its side. Of course, if you get in the rear, that was always going to be a good thing. But getting in the rear of an awesome usually isn't an option until like the later part of the game. But now at least maneuvering up, splitting and pincering it from both sides so that one is guaranteed to get into the side arc, that will make a difference.
Yeah, I see this as a positive. Killing awesomes quicker? Yes, please.
Yeah, I hate zombie, so anything that kills awesomes and zombies like it faster, I'm all for. The next one to talk about, it kind of goes into the ammo explosion rules, because we kind of talked about, we picked the two mechs that I did mostly for just kind of the side torso by itself. So now the next two mechs, the Jade Phoenix A and the Centaurian, have ammo in places that matter. The Wolverine also had ammo, but when I did destruction testing on the Wolverine, you'll notice that the Wolverine 7K, its ammo is only one of 11 things in those side torsos. So it's a well-packed ammo. So even though it doesn't have case and it doesn't get any survivability bonus, the ammo is only getting hit in like every 100 games. It was only getting hit 2 or 3 times. The other, 90 to 98 or 97 kills were all coming from the torso and the center torso being destroyed. So like a Centaurian, like the ammo wasn't a factor, but the side chart on that Centaurian was. Because in the front, you're talking about 35 rolls. In the rear, it was 20 rolls. In the old side, it was 44 rolls. Because even though it had an XL engine, the old side shooting the Wolverine, 44, because it's max armor, those legs are just giant damage sinks. You'll never get through the leg, and the arms are maxed armored, so you're just wasting a lot of damage on things that aren't getting into the actual torso. But the new side, so you go from 44 in the old side to 28. So you only
Jesus.
So you go from 35 in the front to 28 in the rear to 21 in the rear rather to 28 in the side. So it's a nice graduated difference, right? So like in the Wolverine's case, the front was the worst place to shoot it, but now the side is slightly better, and then the rear is best yet. So that's like a nice little progression for like, okay, I can't get to the rear, but the side is going to be a benefit. In the old side chart, it was the opposite. Moving into the side, you just cost yourself, 30, 40 damage extra that's going to be needed to kill the Wolverine.
Yeah, basically, in the old system, if you weren't in melee range kicking, going into the side arc was a waste, and it was only hindering you.
Yeah, compared to just focusing on the front. And the only time, these are all against fresh mechs. The only time this would change is if you, like you said earlier, you already mentioned it, like you fired an AC-20 and you dinged the torso. Well, now going into that side would reward you just because you already did some damage there, but it was like marginal. Now, if you ding that side torso with a PPC or a 20 damage hit, now when you have the choice of going to the left or the right, if you go to the side that you dinged once, you're going to get a massive upgrade to your killing potential.
Yeah, it's
So that,
potentially, I mean, you nail one Gauss rifle across the board into their right
yeah,
arm or their right torso,
yep,
potentially going into
exactly.
that right arc is better than the rear arc on occasion.
Yes. Oh, 100%. That's what the simulations show. Because depending on what you shot, right? If it clustered just a little bit to one side or the other, well, so the rear is all fresh, right? But the side, you will chew through that damaged side so much faster with these new side rolls that you will notice the killing power difference. Like it's hard to notice sometimes in BattleTech because you're talking about multiple turns and whatnot. But with these simulation results, you will notice because this is like 80 damage from front to rear. Like that is a noticeable difference. Well, 40 damage to the new side from the front, that is also noticeable. You will save yourself 40 damage from killing the Wolverine just by getting to your side of it.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's like what, 40, 50%, 45% increase in kill time.
Yeah, yeah, depending on what weapons you're shooting, absolutely. The other thing too is that the standard deviation goes down. So before on the old side chart, that had the most deviation because you could still hit every single thing on that mech, right? So in the old side chart, if you rolled an 11 and you hit the opposite leg, that damage you might as well have just not fired that shot because you're never going to hit that leg again on an 11. So there was some black holes of damage on the old side chart. Now on the new side chart, every point of damage is going to contribute to killing.
Yeah, and like I've said, and like you've said earlier, this is a positive change. At
Yeah.
least as far as getting in games and killing mechs and getting the game
Yeah.
over with quicker, this is
Yeah.
definitely a positive change. Also, on the
If
tactical level, this is going to make
okay.
maneuvering way more interesting.
Yes. You're rewarded instead of just sitting and lobbing shots across against that awesome. You are actually rewarded to get into the side arc. You're still rewarded even more for the rear, but I feel like that's a good thing. Uh, but yeah, you are rewarded for getting into the side arc of that awesome if you can.
Yeah, the
It
majority of
does.
time getting into the rear arc means you're free from being retaliated on. So
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
reward in and of itself. Not to mention the
But I know when I was
improved kill
playing in
time.
the yeah, exactly. Because like when I was playing in the past, it's like, oh, I can't get behind them, so I'm just going to stand still, right? Because I'm not going to better my odds by moving. Well, now you will better your odds by moving, even if it's not a rear shot,
Yeah,
as
you
long as you can get to the side.
yeah, depending on how much movement you do. Like let's say now you have to run to get to the side arc. Well, your shots are
Yeah,
one worse, but your clustering on those shots is far more lethal and better.
yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that was the Wolverine in a nutshell. The ammo, uh, I didn't mention the ammo earlier just because the ammo played such a small part in the Wolverine dying, even though it doesn't have case. Unlike the next two mechs, the Jade Phoenix and the Centurion. So when we look at the Jade Phoenix, I selected this one because this is a pretty popular 7 jump assault mech. It has pulse lasers, it jumps 7, and has a scary ultra autocannon.
ugh,
But the important, yeah,
I threw up a
it
little
also has
there.
yeah, max armor basically. Yeah, it's a good mech, right? But if you notice, the center torso has ammo in it. And people who have been playing the game for a long time will know you never put center torso ammo in a mech, right? So the question I had when these new rules came out, I wanted to know exactly how much of a change these new rules would make on a real unit that is taken that actually will see its center torso ammo get played. The main thing is, I should preface, uh, before the forums went down, they did say that the through armor criticals, if you're on the side, do go to the side. That's not in the rules packet though. So that's like
It's like a
technically
clarification.
useless. Yeah, exactly. So it's like they said it, and it was from Zottel, the person who I think put out this packet, but that's
Yep.
technically not in the packet. So I did it both ways just to see. I did one where the twos didn't count against only the side, and one where the twos did, just to see the difference. And yeah, the floating crits in general, if you didn't know, makes the game take longer because it's not even the crits. You're moving damage off of that one location and you're spreading it out somewhere else. So it just means that it takes more damage to kill stuff. So
Yeah.
that was true. That was still true, right? But it was just there was a question of do through armor crits go to the center torso in this new chart or to the side torso when you're in the side? And they clarified it's a side. I did it both ways just to check it out. So in the old rules, right? Anytime that center torso AC-20 ammo got hit, you were dead. So on average, because of through armor crits and for just getting through the damage, after 32 rolls on average, the center torso, the mech had died, either from engine crits, because the side torsos have XL engines, or from the ammo exploding, or from just a combination of losing both side torsos, or one side torso and an engine hit in the center.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
I mean, there are.
32.
I'm sorry. There are 2 more ammo bins in the side torsos, one in
Yes,
each. So
exactly.
you will be
Those
taking
ammo
pilot
bins-
hits. The pilot hits are still there as far as we know.
Yeah, I didn't track pilot hits because if your mech is asleep or not, you still have to grind through the rest of the damage. So yeah, if you take a bunch of pilot hits from the ammo, that still is going to suck. But I cared more about is the mech alive or not at the end of this. So with the old rules, 17 CT ammo hits happened, and that was part of why it only took 32 rolls to kill the Jade Phoenix. If you dump the ammo, then you go from 32 rolls needed to kill to 47. And also the way you died changed. So like with the ammo in your center torso in the old rules, 52% was from your CT being destroyed, which included 17% of the total 100% being because of the center torso ammo. And then only 48% was a combination of engine hits from your torsos getting destroyed or whatnot. And with no ammo, if you dumped it all, you increased your survivability by 50%. So like the ammo made a 50% difference.
Now, do you mean all 4 ammo bins, or
All 4 tons of ammo, yes.
gotcha? Okay.
Right. So in the old rules, having ammo in the mech made you it took 50% less, or it takes 50% more damage rather to kill you if you dump your ammo than if you keep your ammo. So then with the new rules with case, the time to kill, because you will survive engine hits, but and you'll survive a CT ammo hit, but it still does 10 damage to your center torso, right? So your time to kill goes to 44. So
That's a big difference.
yeah, so instead of 47, it's 44. So you do shave off, like, that's 3 games where your Jade Phoenix doesn't die because so that's 3 games where your Jade Phoenix doesn't die out of 100 because of the difference of case versus uh, just empty ammo bins. And even if you did survive because of case, like the 10 damage, it's only between 44 rolls of 5 damage and 47 rolls of 5 damage. The ammo explosion is contributing around 15 equivalent damage because CT damage to the internal structure is worth a little bit more. Even though it's only 10, it's worth around 15 in the simulation.
Gotcha. So it's just more efficient when you hit the center torso like that.
Yeah, that's why I picked the mech that had CT ammo. And that's why you see such a dramatic difference with these new survivability rolls, to the point that since empty ammo bins getting hit was 47 rolls needed, and with case it's 44, there's not a lot of room for case 2 to improve things because, from 44 to 47, case 2 is going to fit somewhere in between 45 and 46 rolls needed. So you're only talking about case 2 mattering maybe 1 game in 100. on something big like a Jade Phoenix, just because it has enough internal structure that changing 10 damage from case to 1 damage if you upgraded to case 2, like, yeah, that's 9 internal structure, but when you have 30 something internal structure in the center torso, the ammo is not the thing that's killing you at that point. So that's why when you look at what's actually killing you in the new case rules, your CT cord percent just is what you're just dying to normal damage when they don't even hit your ammo, because the difference of only 10 damage from ammo, that's such a small amount. They still have to do to get through. If you look at that Jade Phoenix, they still have to get through, what is that, 20 other internal structure, and then, what is that, 50 something armor on the
44, I think.
44, 44 armor. Right. So the 10 damage proportionally, even though CT ammo hit is so bad, like, it's just not a big number when you're looking at having to grind through 44 armor and 27 internal structure. Like, the rest of the game's damage is what mattered, not that ammo crit.
Yeah, and since the early center torso ammo crit is now survivable, it means that storing ammo there is no longer, something you need to look out for. Like, oh crap, there's ammo in center torso. Don't want to take this mech.
Yeah, if you get no further crits from that ammo, it's possible that you would rather the ammo get hit than your gyro, because the gyro will directly impact how you could move the mech. Whereas if the ammo explodes, but then it doesn't cascade into more hits and KOs, then it's like, okay, well, I can live with 10 less internal structure. Thank God they hit my ammo instead of my gyro.
Yeah, and you lose the rear armor, of course, from the case effect.
But in a Jade Phoenix, losing its 10 rear armor is such a minor. Like, I would love to have that problem.
Yeah, over
the
gyro.
Armor. Yeah, over a gyro hit, exactly.
I mean, even the XL engine hit is 5 more heat. That's a nuisance that's going to bother you the rest of the game.
Yeah, so the worst part about the ammo hit now to these big assault mechs is the KO, and then if you get unlucky and get more crits. Like, because obviously a double ammo hit is even more rare, but then it's even worse. But it's so rare it doesn't even come up most of the time. And if it does, you're talking about like 1 in 500 games. Who cares, right?
I mean, honestly, yeah, you'll be at 4 pilot hits, but the mech will still be fine, even if you do take the 2 ammo crits.
Yeah. And the thing that will kill you will be the KO hits and falling, not the actual ammo blowing up in your center torso and then blowing up again from another crit, that's just shocking.
Yeah. And for clarification purposes, if you do take the 10 damage to the center torso rear armor and the 10 from the case explosion, that does count as 20 damage for a PSR. It was clarified on the forums recently.
Yes. But you can only lose that rear armor from an ammo explosion once. So then the subsequent ones, it's the ammo's already, the armor in the rear is already gone.
Yeah.
So it's still only 10 damage in that case.
I mean, it's still not good. Still 2 pilot checks and all that, and whatever damage was caused to generate that crit to begin with, of course.
Right. So yeah, then it's just the actual damage part of the ammo explosion on these big mechs, though, just wasn't making a difference. The KO, that's going to be way more important if you're a big assault mech. So then the other mech that I did was a Centurion. The Succession War Special. It's only got like 136 armor total, but it is like a pretty solid kind of trooper that everybody should know about, and it has ammo in both torsos. And it has enough internal structure that if the ammo gets hit, it won't be fatal. But that's if you hit it in a vacuum. So the point of doing the destruction tests is to see, well, when the ammo gets hit, what's the actual state of the mech going to be in? And so this one, I won't go into it as much as the Jade Phoenix because there's less interesting stuff here. If you don't hit the ammo on the Centurion, it takes around 30 hit rolls of 5 damage to destroy it. And if you do hit the ammo, the amount of rolls needed for it to die goes down to around 25 for that first ammo explosion. So the ammo explosion, generating another 20 damage. So that puts it into that 30 roll region. So in the destruction testing, 32 out of 100 Centurions suffered some kind of ammo hit. And with the new rules, 16 of those 32 ammo hits would have been survivable, but only barely. Because they'd already taken some damage, and the damage going, blowing off the torso and going right into the internal structure of the center torso. If they had taken any center torso or right torso damage prior, they were still dead. And if they didn't, and they were relatively fresh when they got hit, after the ammo explosion, they only had about 20 damage at most, usually only around 5 damage left, because if you hit them anywhere at that point, it was going to the center torso and killing them. So you weren't really surviving the ammo explosion, even though 16 out of 32 ammo hits, you might technically be alive. That's only if the ammo is the last damage you take in that game. Like you fall and take 5 more damage, you were probably dead. Or if they had 10 damage left in their shooting phase, the Centurion was still dying.
Gotcha. I mean, it's not good, obviously, to get nailed by an ammo explosion without case.
Yes.
And Succession Wars is the worst case scenario when it comes to ammo explosion severity.
Right. And a larger mech would, of course, be seeing a much higher quality of life after its ammo getting hit. But I wanted a 50-ton mech because there's quite a few popular 50-ton mechs with ammo, like the Hunchbacks and stuff. And yeah, they're surviving, but only technically and only some of the time.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as that ammo goes up, your torso's gone, you're crippled, period, because you're losing a torso.
CT crits to the center torso automatically, which those are bad too.
Yeah. So, I mean, even in the best case scenario where the rest of your armor is full up and you got attack on your LRM or autocannon ammo, you're still half of a mech at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And then soon to die.
Yeah, because now you're just almost you're on the brink. I mean, you're missing 2 locations.
Right. And you don't have the buffer of all that extra internal structure of like an assault mech.
Yeah, you just can't soak the ammo explosion like something bigger can.
Right. Case obviously would have made it somewhat more survivable, but usually these medium mechs, they combine case with an XL. And so when you do that, like in the Centurion D, which is pretty much the same armor layout, you'll notice it has like the Centurion that we were looking at has 13 armor. So if you ping it with a Gauss rifle, let's say, right, 13 armor, and then the internal structure goes in by those extra 2 points, and now you only have 10 left. And so I was seeing a lot of people online like, oh yeah, it's only like 40-ton mechs that auto die, but because you will take some damage to generate that internal structure roll. So it's really 10 plus the damage that shot just did. So you're still getting one shot by a Gauss rifle.
If it crits, of course.
Centurion. Yeah, if the Gauss rifle crits the ammo, and it has to crit the ammo, of course. But if it does crit the ammo, Case is not saving that 50-ton mech. But now, if that 50-ton mech was 55, even with the same armor, that one extra point of internal structure on that Wolverine matters, right? Because, well, the Wolverine has more armor, but like if it goes 2 points internal from something, well, it has the ability to take a 10 damage if it has Case hit, which is why I think, there's been a lot of focus on bigger, heavier mechs gaining from the Case rule. Because a 50-ton mech and lower, is almost always going to still be dead if it has like an XL. And if it doesn't have an XL, if it has like a clan XL, well, that's 2 engine hits. You're almost dead at that point.
Yeah, I mean, even this Wolverine, you're basically one hit in that right torso away from being dead. I mean, a small breeze could take you out at this point.
Right. But
And
then when we
because
switch back to the Jade Phoenix, you know what I mean?
yeah, I mean,
The
you're
Jade Phoenix
perfectly
can still
fine.
it can still take another clan ER medium laser, which, you know, those matter.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, so that was kind of the ammo thing. I'm going to be doing more testing, but so far it's the ammo's really been favoring bigger mechs with just that, the ability to soak the internal structure damage.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. The rich keep getting richer when it comes to the
Yeah,
assault mechs.
yeah,
I mean, armor spam is a thing. We've seen it happen multiple times. Thank you, Pirate.
yep,
But I think these changes that are making the assault mechs a little hardier when it comes to bad luck with ammo explosions are also kind of getting balanced out with the side arc changes, because as an assault mech or a heavy mech or just anything that's 4-6 or slower, you're not that maneuverable and you're subject to being flanked by, something like an ice ferret that's got a Gauss rifle that's running around at 812. It can get
that
in its medium
ERPC,
range, or something with an ERPPC like a pack hunter. You can get into your medium range and nail something into the side arc where it's not anticipating it. And that damage, as long as you can maintain that side arc pressure, you can bore through them relatively quickly. I mean,
yeah,
it's got 30 something armor in that right arm, but if you nail him with 2 ERPPC shots in that right side arc and they both go to the arm or the torso, you're in business. Now you can just start picking away at it.
yeah. When you look at it like that, when you move to the side on something like an assault mech versus a light mech, when you move to the side of the assault mech, like on the Awesome, right? So when we look at the Awesome's armor on the left arm, you know, there's 20 some there, there's 34 in the left leg. You're ignoring, you know, what is that? Close to what, 70, 80 some armor by being on the right side. So that's 80 less armor on that Awesome, which it normally you'd have to grind through. But then if you switch to a lighter mech, well, you're not ignoring as much armor on the mech.
Yeah.
Because like the assault mech just has more to lose when it's getting flanked, if that makes sense. Yeah, a locust, you flank a locust, like, yeah, it's still going to be bad for the locust, but in terms of absolute proportions, like the flank move on that Awesome takes 80 something armor off the table for you to hit. Versus if you get to the flank of the locust, you're only getting rid of like 20 maybe armor off of your hit chart. So, you're getting a lot more of a benefit if you're flanking these bigger assault mechs, even though the bigger assault mechs gain a huge survivability increase with the way the new case rules work.
And it's only to an extent. I mean, an ammo explosion is still bad. You're still losing all of your rear armor. You're still taking the 2 pilot hits. You're still generating that PSR, assuming there was 20 damage dealt in that phase. It's still not good. Like, just
Certain
because
mechs, right. Certain mechs with a ton of ammo, they're like, if you have 6 tons of ammo and they just chain explode one after another, no change is going to save you, right? Because you're just going to take ammo hit after ammo hit. Like the Jane Phoenix has 1 or 2 tons of ammo, but some of the missile carrying mechs, they might have 6 tons of ammo that can just get hit one after another. And so, yeah, even case 2, right? There's nothing that's going to stop that much ammo exploding. The Viking has a ton of ammo, for example. The Viking is usually known as pretty hard to kill, but no amount of case changes are going to save you if 4 of your ammo tons get hit in the same turn.
Yeah, at that point, the pilot's just dead once the third one goes off. I mean,
That's a different point that I did not look into. I did not dive into that one. Yeah.
yeah, no, he was being comprehensive with his analysis. Like, I know
Mhm.
Zodel said on the Tuesday Newsday, like, we don't want data. We've already ran the numbers, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but we haven't. Okay. Just because you have doesn't mean we have. We don't have your data and you don't want to
Right.
share it for whatever reason.
Right.
Would have been nice if they shared the data.
Yeah.
I think part of the sharing the data is a lot of people look at these rules and they think it's going to mean one thing, but they haven't actually put it on the table. And so, like, your perceptions are going to be definitely impacted from like your initial reaction to when you actually see it on the table.
Yeah. And there's just some things that feel like they're off. Like previously, going in the side arc was technically worse for trying to
Yes.
destroy a mech. And, I always felt like it wasn't worth it to get to the side arc because every time I got in the side arc, I'd always hit the goddamn opposite side.
Yeah, of course. Right. And
So,
then that shot basically doesn't even count.
so
Yeah.
I have a question about that because I always thought that going on in the old rules or in the current rules that have not been changed yet, going in the side arc was a tad bit better, if even by like 1%. And the reason I say that is because isn't six, what is it, 7 and 8? Actually, 7 and 8, aren't they the at the highest of the bell curve?
Seven
Yeah.
is.
So when I looked into, because I was surprised by it, and I'm like, that's weird. But when you look at what's happening when you go to the side chart, right? In the front chart or the rear chart, 6, 7, 8 are torso slots, right?
Right.
And so 6, 7, 8 are your most common hits. But when
Hmm.
you go to the side chart, now it's 7, 8, 9 are your torsos. And so turning
Oh,
so you're turning a 6 to a 9 in terms of your torso locations. Because 7's still a torso, 8's still a torso, but you're turning a 6 into a 9 for your torso. So that means that there's an extra limb on the side chart. There's more limb percentages on the side chart than on the front chart. And taking off a leg, while that's great and all, a lot of times mechs have so much leg armor that just hitting the leg a little bit more means that you're killing the mech a little bit less. It's only kicks in the side arc where you can really put on leg damage in a way that was noticeable
And consistent for that matter,
and
because
consistent. Right.
kicks function, like we mentioned, kicks still function the same way the new side arcs will. You can only hit the left leg from the left arc when you
Right.
kick now. So that's not that's not new. We've always been able
Yeah.
to do this.
But yeah, so the new side, the old side chart just had less torsos on it in general and more limbs on it. And limbs are not what you want to hit when you're trying to kill a mech, especially legs, because, except for a few mechs that have terrible armor distributions, the legs, like you're looking 30 armor on the leg, right? So, like in the old side chart, if you rolled up a leg or the opposite leg would be even worse, right? Like that's just damage
yeah.
that unless you get really weird in your hit clustering, that's damage that's not contributing to you killing the mech in a timely manner. That's why the
Okay.
time to kill is higher on those old side charts and why it's so much lower on the new side charts.
Okay. I had it the opposite. I thought that the time to kill was actually being lowered with the new one.
That's what
No,
everybody
yeah, that's
assumed with the old one, but
with
it's
the old one,
definitely
right?
being lowered now. It's by a significant margin with the new one,
Right.
like a ridiculous margin.
Your CT hits go from 8 to 7, so you're killing more things through the center torso. Uh,
Hmm.
just right off the bat, right? Because the new side chart makes it easier to hit the center torso. And then on top of that, you can't hit half the mech, which is why these things are dying so fast. Because especially if you can ping the torso before you ping the arm, once the torso falls off, you're also ignoring the arm armor on that facing side. So if you're on the left side and you ping off the left torso, even on a zombie like an awesome, well, the arm falls off, so then you don't have to deal damage to that arm anymore. And then you can't hit the right arm, the right torso, or the right leg. So that only leaves the center torso and the left leg. And so, just there, it turns into 27 rather out of 36 hit chances to hit the center torso if you get lucky and ping that side torso a few times.
Yeah, and in some cases, like we mentioned before, when you're closing in and you're in your opening turns and you nail that Gauss rifle or that ERPPC from across the board and you hit a side torso or even an arm at this point, something like 15 damage off of an arm or a leg, depending on the armor distribution, of course, and if you have a really good melee mech that can get in there and get some solid kicks in, you can just target that side and your time to kill could be faster than even going into the rear arc.
Because like if you fire 2 Gauss rifles from one of the many Gauss rifle mechs, right, they have to hit somewhere on that mech. And unless they both hit the center torso, and if they do hit the center torso, hey, you know what I mean? Like you just cracked out most of the armor of the center torso. But if they don't hit the center torso or the head, they have to hit a side somewhere. And unless you roll exactly the same location on both sides, you're going to now have one side much more heavily damaged than the other. That's what Jesty was saying. So now when you move in, you can take advantage of that early chip damage and just magnify it by going onto that side. And you really magnify it.
Yeah. So for instance, let's take this awesome as an example. It's got a butt ton of armor in the left torso. It's got 24 in armor in the left torso, 26 in the left arm. Let's say you nail it with the Gauss rifle while you're closing in the left torso. Now you can get on the side arc and ignore the other 24 armor in that right torso, the other 26 armor in that right arm, and the other 34 armor in that right leg, and then just focus on the 70 or 80 or so armor that's left over in that left half.
So on that left torso.
Yeah. So now you're not only are you deleting all that extra 10 or 15 damage from your long range shot with an ER large or, the ERPPC or clan ERPPC or Gauss rifle, whatever it may be. But that's now dictating which side of the mech you focus on for the fastest time to kill in the future.
So yeah, that's kind of what the side chart definitely is going to be making those gameplay changes, I think. Just because case, it is or it isn't. And, in the testing that we were doing, so many times mechs would die without the ammo getting hit anyway, right? Whereas the side chart, that can come up every game. You don't have to get lucky and hit ammo. Because even on a mech with a lot of ammo, you still have to roll that crit. I think, Jesty, you said something to that effect earlier.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
The side chart, that's always going to be there. And like you said, being able to do targeted damage to one side, just like you are with kicks now, reducing variance in a game like Battletech with variance is massive. If you have 4 tons of ammo, or if you have 6 AP Gauss rifles, you're not going to survive the new ammo explosions or the old ammo explosions because there's no change there for you. AP Gausses are still going to pop off and melt your brain.
Yeah, and it's still unlikely, based on the dice. You need to 8 up to get your crit, and when it's not something that's going to happen all the time. Like nailing one ammo bin, just outright deleting a mech is something that's not going to happen as long as the mech is big enough to survive the ammo explosion, like we discussed earlier. Anything over 55 tons has a chance of continuing the fight. Anything under, probably not.
Yeah, exactly. That, because Battletech's, again, always about the small dice, right? So that one lucky hit before that would hit the ammo would do catastrophic things. And so even though it's a low odds event, when it happened, it dictated the whole game. Where now, unless you're on a lower end mech, that one lucky ammo crit is not going to be the thing that ends your game. It's going to be a combination of that ammo hit on top of the 200 other damage you took.
Yeah. And like we said, it's not good. Ammo crits still suck, but the game will go on. The mech will go on as long as you're big enough.
So covering all that, we'll get into some personal, thoughts and feedback at this point, I guess, right?
Yeah. How are you feeling? What do you think are some big winners in all this? I mean, of course, we already mentioned assault mechs for the ammo explosions, but outside of the obvious.
I think one of the things you had mentioned earlier was just like the mid maneuverability units. So your 6.9 mechs, things that uh, they weren't big and chunky and slow to just sit in woods like and awesome, but they also weren't dasher fast. So everybody knows the dasher is just going to murderize people, but it was already doing that in the rear because it had so much speed, it could always pick the best place to go. Right. But now those 6.9 mechs and things like that are just fast enough to maybe get in the side, but not fast enough that they're always getting in your rear. I think those are the things that now running them up the field is going to feel a lot better just because of how consistent the side chart is and how a 6.9 mech has the mobility to actually take advantage of it.
Yeah.
People talk about the shielding rule, and I don't think shielding's going to take that much of a gameplay element. Like, yeah, your awesome can shield itself, but your awesome is your early initiative mover, right? And it doesn't have a lot of mobility. So all it can do is kind of pivot in the spot. So if you save your awesome to be your last initiative to try and take advantage of the new side shielding rules, you're not going to be accomplishing anything. Right? The awesome isn't fast enough to like move out of its hex and then turn and face to shield. So it's just going to be an early initiative, whatever, sit it and forget it.
Yeah, it's
So
still got.
it's not big dumb assault mechs are not taking advantage of the shielding rule like people are maybe expecting.
Yeah, and as an awesome, you don't have any ammo to go up. B,
Right.
you have the armor, so even if you do get stuck pivoting, you can force those peskier fast mechs to pivot with you. So they're not gonna have, like, let's say take something with the Gauss rifle. Or a large pulse laser or something at a 6.9 movement profile. If you rotate just with the walk and move 3 hexes, or I should say pivot 3 hexes, now they're in the opposite side, and all the damage they just did to your left arc or right arc, whichever one it was, is now wasted. And now you have to run around the mech to get back to working on that same side, or go for the rear arc, which then you're on the full body table, or go to the opposite side arc and start digging through that armor all over again.
Yeah, but that means you're holding your awesome, which is really going to move anyway, towards the ends, just so you can pivot towards the enemy.
Oh
right?
no, I mean doing it right at the start of the turn. So okay, your Ryukin is 6 hexes away or however many hexes away to be in medium range or short range with that large pulse laser.
Right. So
well,
you can
now,
set a trap. Yeah.
Yeah, well, now I'm pivoting. Now you're in my left arc instead of my right arc, and I'm full armor on my left arc. Now you have to ring around the rosy, run all the way around that awesome to get to that opposite side. So,
but I think the Ryokin's fast enough to actually do that.
Yeah,
right?
but
awesome fight. No, you're right, absolutely. But I think the Ryokin, that's where I think you're going to get the most advantage on these new side rules. Is something like a Ryokin that is fast enough to like actually play Ring Around the Rosie.
Yeah, but in order to get to that opposite side, now you're going to be in point blank range.
Well,
because you can't make the pivot maybe you could get all the way to the other side at 9 hexes, depending on how far out you are. But we're assuming you're not on planet Cue Ball and there's going to be terrain in the way.
Yes.
Of some sort, at the bare minimum.
Benefit from that. Whereas something like a lighter, slower mech is not going to benefit from either the case rules or the new mobility rules. Like the Kintaro is fast enough that it can actually like play somewhat in the midfield, but I'm thinking like the hoplites or the hunchbacks, right? Hunchbacks are not quite fast enough at 4-6 to really be taking advantage of the side rules unless you're just bum rushing them with a bunch of hunchbacks. But like a bunch of hunchbacks is not like nobody's happy to have a bunch of hunchbacks in their face.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, there's still going to be edge cases. There's still terrain you need to worry about. We're talking about optimal scenarios where you have the room to maneuver. Let's say you have a cliff or a building where you can block your opposite side. You can pivot back and forth, exposing your left and or right sides, and just make them burn through all of your armor, depending on the positioning.
Yeah,
So
I just don't think the hunchback benefits as much as say a Phoenix Hawk. I think a Phoenix Hawk is going to be real happy in these new rules, and the hunchback less so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it might be, well, even with the ammo explosions, unless you have case, it's not going to be happier. If you do have case, then it'll be happier.
It was going to be miserable for a Phoenix Hawk anyway for its ammo to get hit, but now its mobility is letting it translate to more side shots because it has CT ammo, right? But unlike a big assault mech that can soak a CT ammo hit, right? Like through a through armor crit, you need to be at least 70 tons to take that ammo crit. And so the Phoenix Hawk's not getting any survivability from the new ammo rules, but like a Warhammer is, right? But
yeah,
the
absolutely.
Phoenix Hawk is getting a massive killing potential by just being able to maneuver into side arcs.
Yeah,
whereas Warhammer is just going to stand still in forests like always.
Yeah, and the increase in lethality from these arc focusing down possibilities means you're gonna have to pay attention to your positioning a lot more than you did before. Which is something I personally think is a positive change.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, I like the side chart. I like just killing the side charts in general. But I also like that the new side chart makes the game more lethal. I do know, though, that some people are not going to like that, right? They're not going to like that half their mech gets ignored and they lose their leg constantly now because people are really focusing in on those side arcs. So they're shooting, they're hitting the leg more, they're kicking it because they know they could really punish side arcs now. So, like, some people are going to be unhappy that their mechs are getting focused down quicker. So that's like the give and take. So while I'm happy with faster kills, that's probably not everybody's reaction.
Yeah, I mean, light mechs are already a hard sell as is, like something like a Locust or a Valiant or whatever, something fast with hardly any armor.
Right.
Now you can get more out of it for your good maneuvering. Whereas before, it's either rear arc or bust. If you get in the side arc, maybe you can get some targeted damage out with the kick or a melee attack or something, but more than likely it's just going to scatter.
What about the ammo rules? What are your thoughts overall on the ammo rule changes?
Anything to make the game less swingy and more consistent. I just wish that it weren't so lethal for the light mechs like it still is. I mean, basically, if you're under 40 tons, there's no change.
Right. Even 40 tons, right? Case in an XL engine, there's no reason to put case on a 40-ton mech or lighter if you have an XL engine. Maybe if you're clan and you can put it in the arm, but
yeah, like this assassin is still dead with a 10 damage ammo,
no
matter what.
Any 40-ton or less mech, and even some of the slightly bigger ones, right? If they got that crit off of dealing one internal structure and you had 11 to start because you're like 45 tons, you're not going to get a benefit to the survivability rolls because 10 damage plus your low side torso. So light mechs aren't getting there's still no reason to install case on light mechs. I don't like that. I wish that there was a reason to put case on every mech with ammo. Like it should do something for everybody.
Yeah, my suggestion would be half of whatever your internal structure is in that location. So it's still not Yeah, I think you mentioned it previously. Half would be a good compromise because it's still not basically ignorable for assault mechs. Half of your structure gone sucks. Uh,
Half
not to
of the
mention,
internal structure of the 30 something structure to the CT versus 10, that does make that does start to actually make a significant difference.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
because even though it's only a few points, right? It's all about the break points. So yeah, that mech has what 27 internal structure in the front.
Yeah,
Partial wing. Hit that ammo. Hit it. But yeah, so if it loses half, well, it cares a little bit more, right? It's only 3 or 4 more points of internal structure, but that those are the points that it really cares about. And an assault mech with 30 some, now it's losing 15 if it has CT ammo. So, it matters a tiny bit more. But like your Phoenix Hawk will actually, if you put case in the center torso of a Phoenix Hawk, in this, that'll actually do something, right? Your Phoenix Hawk uh, will be able to survive an ammo explosion if it mounts case, meaning there's a reason to put case in the CT.
yeah, and it's gonna change the dynamic for a lot of mechs. Like anything that would normally just be dead to a side torso ammo explosion with an XL engine
Right.
is now going to live on to fight. So their stonks are going up, as they say.
Right. Especially if it's half your internal structure instead of a flat 10, because then you extend that case survivability to all weight classes.
Yeah, and if you're a mech that only has one bin in that torso, that means
Mhm.
you're good. You can't be destroyed by an ammo explosion in that
Right.
side torso alone. Of course, more
Yeah.
damage can always take you out. So something like this Wolverine, yeah, you could take those ammo explosions. I mean, the pilot hits are going to suck, but you're still trucking as long as you pass your consciousness checks.
Yeah. And then what about the combination of both rules? Like what's something like a list that you would like to bring to put these rules on the table?
So I would like to bring some of those lighter skirmishing mechs that I would love to use, but I can never justify bringing, like something like a Hellion A that's got all those LRMs, or like an Arctic Cheetah or a Koshi, something small that you can get in there and poke at the side arcs from a little bit of a distance. Like there's an
Instead of running just like a panther who just snipes all day.
Yeah. Instead of just plinking away at the front arc and hoping for the best, now you're going to be rewarded for flanking.
Right. Yeah, that I would agree with that. But I unfortunately also see a lot more assault mechs just being silly bricks showing up.
Yeah, and the trade-off here is you have less chances of just deleting an assault mech or deleting half of an assault mech,
With a lucky
and
hit. Yeah.
yeah, with one lucky hit, and now you have more chances to target down that assault mech in the side arcs with those faster mechs. Or
Yes.
if you have bad facing on a fall, you can give up your side arc or whatever in the next turn. It makes the side arc matter, whereas before it didn't.
Especially since you're not going to get those lucky kills on those assault mechs. So you're really going to want to maneuver in to take advantage of the side chart to kill that assault mech efficiently, since there's no more lucky ammo break.
Yeah, I almost feel like a good composition would be something to plink away from long range, like your typical Novacat A, or your dual Gauss sniper, and see what you can hit in those opening turns, and then focus your little Zerglings in on whatever side may be lower. Or if you get lucky and nail the CT, then you just keep poking away from the front arc and hope you hit the CT still, or just pick a side arc because the CT is still just as likely to be hit as it is from the front arc at this point.
Yeah, that early damage plinker is actually going to uh, play a big part in how you play the game based on where it lands its shots.
Oh, absolutely. Now you have to protect whatever side got nailed by that Gauss rifle. Now you may be, baiting with your rear arc, or may have to bait with your rear arc instead of your side arc.
So yeah, what do you think is going to change for you when you put stuff on the table with the new playtest rules?
I honestly, I don't know. Like immediately off the top of my head, I want to try more funny enough, and I know this may sound counterintuitive, but more Excel equipped mechs.
Yeah, to see how that case helps them out or not,
Mm-hmm.
and to see also if you can protect your side arc with the XL.
Yes. Something that I was thinking of the other day was Excel equipped mechs that are fast may actually have a better time. Simply
Mm-hmm.
because, like we mentioned earlier, positioning is going to be super key now more than
And
it
they'll
was
have the
before.
speed, right?
Uh, Excel engined mechs being able to move into a flank and engage while hitting the side chart, quote unquote, the new side chart, and that unit having to torso twist and hit on the front chart. I think there is some. I think there is some. How do you call it? Some balancing there that actually works out.
Yeah. Throw a Nodachi up in somebody's flank and see how they like it.
Yeah, I did think about the Nodachi at first, but unfortunately, nobody likes lots of pulse, and Nodachis are notorious for 30 plus pulse. So
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Funny. Funny how that worked out.
funny how that worked out. I know, right?
I mean, it is one of the more optimized mechs, honestly.
But yeah, so
It
I
is.
do also want to thank everybody over in the Discord, uh, Nitro and Jesty, of course, but also MechWarrior Lincoln and Carbon, because I had a real hard time parsing some of the ammo explosion rules, like how you lose your armor and what, and also like how it's changed. Because it's not intuitive that you lose if you get your ammo hitting your arm and you have case, you do lose your arm armor. But it's like, oh, okay, well, when does that matter? It's like, oh, well, if you play with floating crits. So there's a lot of things in there that okay, yeah, there some of this text isn't for the playtest. It's for what comes after the playtest. Those Thanks to those guys for helping them out.
Yeah, and I mean, and like even on this conjure, a 10 damage ammo explosion, there goes your arm regardless. So
You're right. So it's like when did some of those rules come into play? Like I couldn't quite grok. But yeah. Any other shout outs or anything? Any other closing thoughts, guys?
well, other than thanking Catalyst for actually opening this up to us all to analyze and
Oh
play
yeah.
test.
Yeah, thank God. Can
Yeah, I mean,
you
this is
imagine if
a,
they didn't give anybody a heads up with this?
oh, there would be, I mean, people are already pulling out their pitchforks and it's not even official yet.
Right.
I, for one, welcome these changes. I mean, the game's how old, and a Total Warfare has been out for how long? It's past due. Even if you
Yeah.
don't agree with the changes, new is still better than old at this point. At least now you can try new things and see what sticks.
And even if you don't like the gameplay change of being able to focus down somebody's side, the the enhanced ability to teach Battletech by not having those two side charts, like even if they don't change the right arms become left arms and whatnot, like just getting rid of those side charts and fixing, like just reducing the amount of charts in the game, that's
Yes.
super good for the game.
Yeah,
Like,
Yep.
exactly. I mean, even something that Hans has said would, if they want to take like maybe a happy medium with this approach to the side arc, is instead of making it so that you can't hit the opposite side arm and leg, make it so that you only can't hit the opposite side torso. So the
yeah,
lethality goes up a good bit, but not as much as it is right now.
yeah. But the key thing is you still got rid of those charts. And like just looking at these record sheets, right? This is Flex, and Flex does a great job. But like all the viewers watching, look how little the print is, right? Now imagine how much nicer that's going to look when you don't have the left and the right columns there, right? Just how much easier it's going to be to read without all three of those things scrunched up together. Like just for the visibility of the game, for people just looking at a glance, I think that that's going to be a really good quality of life improvement.
Yeah, less charts is definitely welcome. The game's got so many as is.
Yes, especially with the side charts with the data turning out to not be that great to begin with.
Yeah, it was a niche maneuver. Like if the target had one more hit on their left torso before you took them out or got rid of that torso and the
But they're
arm.
so easy to forget before. Like, so, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm in the right torso. Ah, all right. Well, now my 8s are 7s, and my so yeah. With this, like, even if you forget you're in the side chart, at least like your center torso is still your center torso. It's going to be a lot easier and cleaner on the table.
Yeah, and I can't wait to put these down on the table and try them out. I will be trying to get some test games in at Desert Hot Drop later, coming up this next weekend. But on top of that, I've heard people have been enjoying testing these out, even if it's just putting mechs on the table and trying it out. Even if you haven't played in a while, just, this is new. See how it feels. See if you enjoy the changes. See if you have more dynamic battles with your buddies, and see if you still have those moments where, oh wow, it was going good for me until X happened.
Yeah, send them your feedback. Like, that's how often do you get to give feedback to change the game that you love, right? Play more games. That's always been our motto.
Oh, absolutely. And this is just another excuse to play more games. So I hope everybody gets out there, puts mechs on the table, and sends their feedback in. Like we said, you have to send the feedback in. That way we can have a dialogue with Catalyst, and it can only be positive from here.
Absolutely.
All right. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen, before we call it a night?
Give them hell.
Sorry about the disjointed audio there. We're working on audio issues.
Yeah, technical difficulties and all that. I apologize. But
appreciate it for sticking with us.
Yeah, but we appreciate you guys. Thank you again, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.